the Tap End 2022, the first one of the new year. So I thought it was about time. It's the end of January. It's about time I had a wash. So here we are, and as normal, we have somebody to chat with. So, Mr. Gary Nightingale, welcome to At the Tap End today. How the devil are you?
I'm very good, Lee, and I'm sorry I'm not in a bath or a shower or any kind of cleaning appliance. That's all been done today.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Thank you for sharing your morning routine with us. Much appreciated. So, for those people who don't know who Gary Nightingale is, who is he, and how has he got to the Tap End?
Well, I love that theme music, by the way. I feel like I'm in a 70s sitcom.
Yeah,
you have been watching. That's showing my age, isn't it? So, right, yeah. Well, I'm Gary Nightingale Creative, and I live in Devon. And from this desk with this drawing board and this laptop, I make stuff mostly for coaches. And that's to use in visual content, social media, websites, the occasional bit of printed stuff, training material, workshops. So it's illustrations, videos, training videos with some whiteboard animation style animation, which I'm looking to develop. I saw a post on LinkedIn earlier about constantly developing your skills, and that's something I'm always looking to do. So this time last year, I didn't do video. So yeah, make stuff to help people communicate their message and connect with their audience.
Yeah, perfect. No, thanks for that, Gary. And we've worked together. I've done a few things now and ongoing engagements and stuff. And what you've just said there about translating on allowing people. In fact, actually, you didn't say this, and this is kind of touches on the conversation we had just before we went live. But what you do and what I think you do brilliantly is you translate out of people's heads into a picture to allow other people to resonate and relate to those things. Is that something that you've always done? In fact, actually, first question, is that fair to say, or is that added pressure? And secondly, is that something you've always done?
What was the added pressure bit?
I mean, just the fact that I've said that that's what you do.
Oh, right. Well, no, that's totally fair, and that is always my challenge and my aim when I speak to someone is getting to know them and just finding out what they're about. And although I've always done art and I've always drawn and I've been drawing. You're right.
Yeah, so you've had a wash this morning, Gary. I've not yet. Don't right. Carry on.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, since I was old enough to hold a pen, I've been drawing, cartoon people and stuff. And it was fairly late on in life that I was doing other jobs, I was following other careers, and it was always along the side. So it was just a few years ago I decided that's what I was going to do. But I would say it's certainly in the last year, but the last 18 months to 2 years, it's a gradual process of where it's come to be what it is now, what it has been for some time now, which is that it's like a kind of translating. And it is like you say, that it's taking people's ideas and translating them into visuals, into imagery that will help them be understood by their audience. But I think there's another side to it that I found, is that it's also helping people clarify in their own minds what they do, because I've had clients who, when I first speak to them, they'll send me lots of PowerPoint presentations and photos of whiteboards and flip charts and stuff, and I could sort of distill all that and clarify it and simplify it and show it back to them so that they can say, yes, that's what I mean, that's what I'm thinking. So it's like the first step is just confirming, is this right about you? So it helps people simplify things for themselves and then carry it onto their audience. It's just, to me, it's just endless how the possibilities in it and what I'm doing with people. I do try writing about it, but I don't know, sometimes analyzing things too much can kill them.
Yeah, no, completely, because your depth of understanding then is far deeper than everybody else's. So you find you in the granular stuff and might be too much for people. I think when in communication, I think what you do actually, is you allow people to communicate in a different medium than what they're currently using. And just before we hit record, we said it's not necessarily about what you're saying; it's about what people are hearing, isn't it? And we had a conversation about imposter syndrome, and the voice in our head doesn't necessarily translate in what's actually happening in reality. But what you're doing through illustrations and videos is hopefully allowing people to interpret what is meant for them. Where do you want to go with what I've just said there? Because there's a bit there.
There is quite a lot there. We were talking just before about that imposter syndrome, and which, as I say, I don't talk about much and I don't give it much credence, but I do occasionally get bouts of it. And where I think it's just it's sort of a dip in confidence in what you do, where mostly it's pretty good. And I find that then changes my perception of myself to other people in a way that distorts it. I'll do it, like I've done a talk recently, like I said, where I didn't think I came across that well, but the results showed that it was fine, but the other point of what you were saying about communicating, the difference between what people say and what people hear, there's whole industry around that, isn't there? Just about communication. So my job is always to try and simplify what someone is saying, convey it visually in a way that simplifies it to perhaps sort of narrow down that chance of misinterpretation.
Yes.
A lot of the time it's concepts that I'm trying to show that can be quite complex and quite abstract. So if I can come up with like metaphors and themes around them, then it's something that people can just look at and just grasp,
Yes. Yeah. When you were on the podcast recently, and the episode was released today, and at the end of that, you mention 2 words, and it's relatable
I remember that. Yeah, humanity.
Yeah, humanity. Yes. Yeah. Relatable humanity. So it's about making it relatable to the person, but then also recognizable and making it, relatable humanity. Yeah.
And that was, I think we were talking as well, and I've been talking to a new client recently about that, where people try and draw a hard line between their professional life and their personal life, which certainly for me is not possible. I can't do that. There's like personal over here, and then there's professional, and then they gradually merge, because I saw a quote once that stuck with me, that your business will only grow as much as you do as a person, which and that's been my experience, that I've reached points where I've got to grow in myself, and then the business follows. It just happens. It's a reality. And where was I going with that? Yeah, it's just about that relatableness. When I was talking to someone recently about the work that they need, and I was looking through their website and everything, the bit that I was interested in, I could see their stuff about their products and their services they offer, but I went to the history and I wanted to know, how long's this outfit been going? What does it mean to it? And then when we were talking, it was like, what are you interested in? What do you like? And we came up with these things that she was really into, that were not to do with her business, but worked really well as themes that I can use as images that will then be used to help navigate people through her website. So then what you've got is this professional website for an organization that's been around for a long time, got a good reputation, a lot of history. And then introducing to it, there's this personal element that other people can relate to, So.
Yeah. So just on that, actually, the like David Brent-esque, the merging of the person and the business. I mean, the sheer fact.
Was I David Brent-esque then?
Say again.
Was I David Brent-esque then?
Yeah, kind of. But the actual fact that we're sat in a bath now, talking, I'm mixing my daily cleansing routine whilst doing a piece of content creation. So I am very much what you see is what you get, and this for me, I think I mentioned to you, metaphorically and physically, I am now naked talking live to LinkedIn or recording it on YouTube, because this is just who I am. And it took me a while to become really comfortable with who I was about, and actually, I remember actually when I started doing what I was doing in improvement, I was told by consultants that I would need to buy a new pair of shoes, or I need to ditch the jumpers and get some shirts and stuff, and I couldn't talk the way that I talk, and I needed to be more professional and all of these things if I wanted to succeed in the career that I wanted to do. And it took me a while to actually realize that not being me is hopefully enough.
I think that's important.
Yeah, have you always recognized that?
I haven't quite got to the stage of going live in the bath, and I think that element of personal is staying personal.
Oh, there's still time
for everyone's benefit. But yeah, I mean, when I first started out doing this, and I was just learning, like I was soaking up things like a sponge, sorry for the metaphor.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Like a sponge. And just learning about business and just learning what it meant to people to be professional, and how was I going to operate as a professional artist, and how does creativity fit in with all of that. And to me, the things like how you dress and how you talk and stuff like that, they're sort of like superficial things, really, that if you're looking to that for your professionalism, they should be the result of your professionalism, not something that dictates it. And like, to me, being professional is doing a good job when you said you were going to do it at the price you said you were going to do it, that someone's really happy with, that helps them achieve what they wanted you to help them achieve, that they couldn't have done without you, and they want to recommend it and they want more of it. So those things, to me, are the bare bones of what professional means.
Yeah, I love that, because that aligns with your relatable humanity as well, because those are just human things, aren't they? We are humans, and we love to connect and belong. And we don't necessarily connect and belong because of what we are wearing. That's very superficial. And it's not necessarily about the person. So no, I love that. So how important, Gary Nightingale, do you believe it is that businesses have consistency of brand that's more than just a logo and a color scheme?
Well, I mean, that's not for me to say. I think it's been established that it's for a long time that how important it is. And yeah, brand is not branding, is it? Brand is values and consistency of values. So consistency shows that your values mean something. They're not just something written on a website to show new starters,
Yeah.
And if it's something that should be the core of what a business does, whether it's an individual, whether it's two people like yourselves, or whether it's a big organization, it should be like, these are the things I stand for, and these are the things I believe in, and they should be reflected in everything you do. So, yeah. And
how do you help businesses demonstrate them to their clients? Because I mean, that example you gave before about going through the website, understand what's important to the lady, and how long the business has been established, and what things they liked to do. How does Gary Nightingale Creative allow organizations or businesses to bring these to the fore, so that people can see and truly understand what's important to the business? How do you do that, Gary?
It's it'd be good to show some examples, because I've got a lot of them from over the years. It's using things like visual metaphor, analogies, like kind of symbolic language as well, with the things that represent companies' values, and it's aligning with things like you mentioned, the logo. I mean, a brand will be reflected in brand colors. So I suppose an example would be that someone visits the website of a company, and there are visuals, video clips that look and feel like part of the whole, and that help people be guided through what they need to follow on a website when they get in touch. That's consistent with what they find when they actually approach the company. Stuff that gets put out in blogs, on social media, it's just the look and feel is the same. And I always try and capture like the sort of energy of a business as well. And that is someone I've been working with for a long time now, and his approach is very stripped back, very minimalist. You know, he's a coach, a leadership coach, and it's always like, here's what you need and no more. You know,
yeah.
He works with people who are too busy for frills and nonsense. You know, they want the hard stuff that they can follow, that will work and get results. So everything I've done with him, whether it's videos or images, reflects that. It's very stripped back, lots of white space. There's nothing in there that doesn't need to be. So do you see what I mean? So
yes.
So when someone looks at their blog, that's the impression they get with the visuals. The first thing they see is like, there's not much here, seemingly.
Yeah.
There's nothing here that doesn't need to be. There's nothing confusing.
Yeah.
And we created our own font because there was a font he liked, but it was just like, well, I designed one so it followed this font, but it was also handwritten, and so everything we do uses that font.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing. How do you get to a depth of a level working with, because you've got your own style, haven't you? How you draw and a lot of your posts, you can tell the Gary Nightingale pieces.
Yeah, that is, it's something that I have to kind of rein myself in, because this is about them and their audience. It's not about me. So my style is still my style, but it's theirs. It's what they need. So this, like the one I just mentioned, a very stripped back style with just not much color, only where it's needed. And then there'll be someone else I work with where there's a lot of color going on, a lot of images that wouldn't work with the other client. So you could look at both and see they're still me.
Yeah.
But they're them.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does. Yeah. It does. No, perfect. So, who is it you work for, Gary? Who best for, and how do you best help people? And then where can people find out more about you?
Well, mostly it is coaches, and that will be people who work with sort of change management, people who work with leadership, people who do coaching supervision. It will be individuals or organizations, and it's usually people who have a lot to say, a lot to write about, and not much time, and struggle to find the right visual stuff to go with what they've written. Either they don't have the time to do it, or they don't know where to start, or so it's just, resorting to stock images that kind of let them down, really. And it'd be people as well, still within the coaching field, but people who maybe have been going into like training rooms for years and years and years. And so as a result of the pandemic, a lot of people had to start moving their stuff online,
Yeah.
And so setting up training programs on platforms where they really had never done this before,
Yeah.
So you're not in a room with people anymore. You're showing them stuff online. So you've got to hold their hand a lot more. You've got to guide people on a lot more when they're going to be doing it on their own than you can just in a room showing stuff on a PowerPoint. Because if anyone's got any questions, you can read the room and you can see that person over there doesn't look sure. I'll ask them.
Yeah.
But you can't, if you've just put together a video and said, here's a 10-minute training video, and then they're going to log into it in their time. If they're not sure of something, you're not there to help them.
Yes.
So, so it's stuff like that. So it's helping people make more, make their training material easier to follow, for people who are on their own. So there's that element to it.
It all comes back down to that relatability, doesn't it? You're trying to make the content as relatable to different people, irrelevant of their learning style. Because some people are visual, some people like pictures, some people like words and stuff, and by that blended messaging, that allows that to happen. No, I love that. I love that. So if somebody wanted to work with Gary Nightingale like we do, where would they go? What would they do?
The best one is LinkedIn, Gary Nightingale Creative. And I do have a website which is in progress. Looks like a building site at the moment.
Yeah.
GaryNightingaleCreative.com. Or you can email me, hello@GaryNightingaleCreative.com. If you go on LinkedIn, then you'll be able to see some of my stuff. Just have a scroll through my feed, look at the featured stuff at the top.
Amazing.
So a mix of client work and my own whimsical stuff.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's good because everybody gets to see who you are as well. Because I think it's important that we all work with people that we resonate and relate to. So I think you've got a really good balance of your stuff, your client stuff, and stuff like that. It's good, really good. Right, Gary Nightingale, I just want to say thank you so much for joining me at the tap end today. It's been an absolute pleasure. It does. The water is getting a little bit cold now, and my fingers are getting a little bit wrinkly. So that's normally the time. And before I started doing these, I didn't realise that bath water goes cold at about 20 minutes. So it's kind of like the perfect length of time for a conversation, which also then gives me another 5 minutes to finish my cleansing process. Anyway,
Gary, personal is that?
Yeah. No, much appreciated. Oh, just before we go, actually, Gary, somebody has commented on LinkedIn or on YouTube actually, but I can't read what that says. But never mind. Anyway, have a lovely day.
People are watching then.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not my mum's name, which is different. So
it's not Jason, is it?
No, it's not. It's not. Yeah. So, Gary, I just want to say thank you so much again for your time. Have an amazing rest of your day, and good luck with everything you're doing.
Thanks very much, Lee.